Hello, today I will present you how to install K3S, a special version of K3S, an older one, and Rancher, and using a proper version. And thanks to this, you will be then able to add a K3S cluster to the Rancher. So let's switch to the command line. So first of all, I decided I will write a bash script. So sudo -i, and okay, now I created a script K3S, and I will edit it. It will be much more convenient. And you can see it is checking if the user a root, and then if you are not a root, it exits. And after that, it displays if user is a root, the information about this, and then it checks does K3S kill all exist, and after that, K3S uninstall does it exist, and you can see it executes, or if there is no file, it displays the information about that the file does not exist, and then it installs IP tables and it cleans up IP tables, and then it's using update alternative to set IP tables and IP6 tables as IP tables legacy, and it's rebooting the server. So I modified this script a little bit to be able to get rid of this from worker, and also -i and vim the K3S IP tables here. So you can see agent uninstall is there, and I will quit it. And also in Rancher, sudo -i and vim k Rancher IP table. So here it is using Rancher d kill all and then Rancher d uninstall, and the rest is the same. So this is how I removed the K3S and Rancher d from my computers. And now I would like to install it the way that it usually we are installing it with a proper one-liner. So we will try to do this. And here we go. So we are going to install the version 1.21.1 plus K3S1. And we are disabling the traffic because we are using NGINX as our ingress controller. So let's start this and download it, and okay. And next thing is to check the status of the service. So we should use this to check it, and in a moment, systemctl, and then we will check the status. Okay. Okay, starting. So we are checking the status of K3S. It's up and running, and also we will check if it's enabled. So it's enabled. Excellent. So now we need a node token and IP address of the master node. So the first machine, the first virtual machine, the first computer, first Raspberry Pi CM4 board, it doesn't matter where you are installing it, automatically becomes a master node. kubectl get node will show you the information, and you can see master. Okay, we have this, and also we need something like this. So we have a token and we need an IP address of the master node. So we have those two information. Lovely. And now we need to copy the IP address and the token to our one-liner to be able to work with this. So I'm going to do that. So now I need to switch to the worker number 1. And here I will use one-liner. CURL install K3S version, so 1.21.1 plus K3S1 and token. And you can see there is a URL provided and port 6443 and K3S node name worker 1. That is also crucial because it's good to use the convention. Host name, node name. Okay, installing. And yes, it created a link. Excellent. And now we are going to do exactly the same here, except one thing, I changed it here to worker 2. And it's installing. Lovely. Okay. And now here, kubectl, get node, just like that. Worker 1 is ready. So in a moment, worker 2 should be ready. Ready. Okay, both are working. So now we are adding labels to worker nodes, just like that. And thanks to this, you will see that both are labeled, and you can see here was none, and here we have worker and worker roles. Cool. Excellent. Now it's good to use the K3S completion. So like that, this way, and also source bash rt file. So just like that. Okay, done. And the same you can do for a standard user. Just like that. And then we need to apply something like NGINX, apply a YAML file that will allow us to set up NGINX as ingress controller in our K3S server. So we are doing this, just like that. Lovely, working. Now kubectl get pods -r a-a, and now we need to do something like oy. So it will display the information about the IP address, and you can see what is going on here. And if I will use watch command, you'll be able to observe the situation. So it's creating a mission controller. Lovely. This is something what was needed. And after that, we need something else. We need to be ready, and we need a running controller. So we will wait a little bit longer because those two are completed. Running 0, 1, but now we are waiting for this because we need 1 to 1. So wait a little bit longer. And it's running. Okay, so 1 to 1. 1 pod, 1 container is running. Everything is up and running as expected. And this is the complete option. Okay, so now we need to create a load balancer to expose NGINX ingress controller ports. So I already have this file, so vim home Adrian, and it will be yum directory and ingress controller, and you can see this. This is it. So it's creating a service ingress NGINX controller load balancer. Okay, and it's exposing two ports, port 80 and port 443. So for HTTPS and HRQ, I want to exit, and port 443. Okay, so kubectl apply -f, and now the directory home admin yum and ingress controller, and that is okay. Applied. Create. Excellent. So we want to watch ports now. Running, completed, running. So what is going on here? So we have load balancers, and one is running 2 containers on CM4. The second is working on worker 1, and the next one is working on worker 2. Excellent. So those are working as expected. Now we need to create a namespace test. So we will do this, and we will test our environment. Excellent. Now it's good to do one simple thing. So systemctl, just restart the K3S environment. So we are restarting our K3S to be sure that everything is up and running as expected. And After that, we will choose option to check the configuration. Okay, and now status working, excellent. So then get both so white, lovely. We'll see, and now we will use the get all but a, and we will observe something. We have an environment, so we have pods. We can see services, and we can see the deployment, but I will exit it and I will use this command without watch, and there is a much more information here. So pods are working. So now we can see services. Services are working. And what we need to do, we have cluster IP, cluster IP, cluster IP, cluster IP. Is there any test? Currently, everything is working. So we need to create a test environment. So vim home Adrian YAM file a test. And here you can see we have a deployment, NGINX backend. So it's Docker IO NGINX Alpine using NGINX service and test NGINX backend, right? And here we have a tester localhost, and we have a pulse to set up to SSL redirect. Okay. So we will apply this file. So kubectl apply -f and in namespace test. So we want this to be working in namespace test, and you can see it's working like a charm. So the proper installation. So we are installing the K3S, then you are creating a load balancer, NGINX load balancer using ingress controller load balancer YAML, and this is it. So first of all, you deployed the ingress controller using the deploy YAML, then you created load balancer and you deployed load balancer. And after that, you're creating a namespace test, and then you're creating a test.yam file. And in this test.yam file, you're putting all this information there. And then you're applying this test.yam file to namespace test. And then kubectl get all -a. I mean, -a means all namespaces. kubectl, sorry, will display all the information about this. So you can see that there is a pod test that is running, and we have also test environment here, test service engine. So we will test this service because we want to check this IP address. So we will copy this IP address here and URL HTTP because we are exposing the port number 8T. So it should work, and sometimes it doesn't. But by default, it should work. So if it doesn't work, you can just restart the K3S one more time and then check if it's working correctly. So we are restarting it. We will then check the IP address one more time. So get all. Okay. And now we have this IP address. So URL, then HTTP, something like this. And this should work by default. Usually it's working. So what we can do, we can try to, I will do this, cd home Adrian the YAML file, and we'll try to replace the test YAML files with force command. Okay. Now we will check the get all commands one more time. And this time I will try to get this IP address. URL v http that, and now you can see it's working. So lovely. Sometimes you need to replace the file and with force command. So this way, just because this file ls test exists here, la. So what I did, I just used the command kubectl replace -f test yum namespace test force. Of course, it can be a full path if you want to do this home and then yum. This way it will work too, but I'm not doing it. Okay, so the test is working, so lovely. Everything is working as expected. We can also remove the V, and you can see the NGINX information from NGINX is displayed correctly. And you can see kubectl and then get O and A and O and white, and it will work too. Excellent. Now, the most important thing is that we need to install the Ranger. So what we need to do, we need to see one simple thing. There is a machine, in my case, it's a virtual machine, you can see in the browser, and it is running Ranger. I'm going to install Ranger here because it's removed. So we have 4 GB of RAM, 50 GB for hard drive, and IP addresses assigned. So we will go back to our Ranger. And here we need to install a proper version of the Ranger. So first of all, what we need to do, and this is very crucial step and very important, we need to create a directory like that. etc Ranger RKE2, and then we need to edit this file, config YAML, and then we will paste the content into this like that. So we have a token and we have IP address, and if you are interested in what the IP address here, so I will do this, and we have 10.10.0120. And here you can see token, and it's some random number and letters, and TLS-sun and the IP address of our node. And this is crucial because you need to remember that each time you are removing the Ranger D from the system, then this directory and this config file is also removed. Good. Now, if we know this, so we can install the Ranger, and this is a step that requires a lot of things. So first of all, it's installing, and this is very quick step. Then we need to check the systemctl, and so we need to enable it, and we need to start it like that. And it's good to also check the status. Excellent. And one more thing, you need to run the journalctl. I can use the sudo, but you can use this, and you need to be very patient here. So you need to just like that wait and wait and wait, because now it will display a lot of communication, a lot of information, a lot of errors, and also and it is setting up. So you need to be very patient and wait for the proper information that the cluster node that is set up. What it is doing here, it is installing the cluster, a one node cluster, a master node on our machine, in this case virtual machine in Proxmox, and after that, on the top of the cluster, on the top of this node, of this master node, it is installing the Ranger. So you need to wait. And yes, it is displaying some errors, that there is a problem with getting the proper address, because you see that connection is refused. So what is going on here? I will leave it and it will work, and in the meantime I will switch to this. And if I will do this IP tables -s, you can see there are entries that are already added by K3S to our master node, and on worker also IP tables -s, and you can see there are also entries, and here IP tables -s. Okay, sudo, and there are also entries. So sudo I. Okay, and now go back to the arranger, and you need to wait really long because it is setting up the whole cluster, and it will create proper entries in IP tables, and then it will be able to properly set up the environment. And you can see now it is almost done, just because you can see there is information node successfully, and it created the listener cattle.io, and cn is set as our IP address, and listener cattle here it's working like this, and it created our internal network. So now this way you see that there is no more messages, and we can Control-C exit from this, and after that we can use ranger D and --help to see what is going on here. And if we will display the version, it will display exactly the 2.5.8 version. And then what we need to do, it's good to run the reset admin. So ranger D and reset, okay, -admin. Cluster and ranger are not ready. So the question is when it will be ready. It's hard to say. Sometimes you need to wait a little bit longer and just be patient. Systemctl, status the ranger, the server, and you can see even the cured object ranger node version. So you can do something like -f and watch, and eventually you can observe if there's something that is changing. Okay. Control-C or Q, and we can also check with the journal.ctl. But it looks it's working. So Control-C, and then we will use ranger D reset admin. It's not working. So what we can do now, we can try to restart without F the ranger D service. Ranger D server service restart. Okay. So we can do this one more time, and then we will check the status. Okay, and we can also check the journal.ctl, and is there anything else that is working here? I suppose not, and it should work, but you can see it's displaying the information, so you need to check everything, and you need to be sure that there is no more information in journal.ctl. Okay, I think that we can try to exit, and now we can try one more time reset admin, and now it is working, like you see, because what we did, we restarted just the ranger this server, and thanks this we can achieve our goal. So we can go to this panel and then use the password that is already provided here. So what we can do now, we will just switch to the browser, and we will go there to the IP address that it was provided by the software. So I'm going to copy this URL. I will open now the browser and will enter it. Now advanced, open the website. Here we go, Rancher started. So I will type admin here. And after that, I should use the password that was provided and I should be able to log into the system. So do this. And what I want to do, set up a specific password to use. So we want to set up a new password in this case. And I think the best option is to generate some password. And I want to create or manage multiple clusters. I'm only going to use the cluster launcher was. I think that like that, but I need a password that will be working. So I will use some kind of password generator to be able to get into this. And just give me a second and let's do this. And I will paste the password here and here. And I'm going to use the cluster rancher instead. No, I want to create or manage multiple clusters. I want to do this and I want my own password. So I don't want to use a new randomly generated password. And I agree with terms and conditions. And okay, let's allow it. But by default, I do not recommend this option. Continue saving, save the URL. Not now, and then close. And then we have something like this. What we need to do then? We need to then add our server. So it will be something like add cluster, other cluster, and we will call it Raspberry and cluster, something like that. Create. And we are going to copy the last one-liner. So we will copy this one. And we are going back to command line and we need to switch to the CM4 board just because this is our master node, right? You need to put this here and no object path to apply. So one more time, arrow, up arrow, and okay, now it's working. So if we will click on this cow, we'll present it in a moment, browser, and here in the global, and here we can click on the global, and you can see the status pending. So what next? We have ARM. So I will, advance, and it refreshed because of this. It's pending. So I will go back to the command line, and now you can see uname A, and we are using R64, and here uname A, the same, and uname A, and here and on the rancher it will be different. Uname A, it's displaying the x86-64. So because we are using ARM, we need to do something like I'm going to present now on the screen in a moment. So you need to go here, and I will just provide a browser, and here in this option where you have Raspberry Pi cluster, you can see it's active. However, if you want to make it work, so you need to click those three dots, click on View in API, then need to edit, and here in the agent image override, you need to paste this. So rancher /rancher-agent v2.5.8-linux-arm64, and then you need to scroll down a little bit. Scroll down, show request, then scroll down, send request, then scroll down, follow self-link, then up, and then reload here, and after reload, up and up and up, and then if we will click it one more time and view in API, you can see those two are here. So agent image and agent image override. So you are using Ranger agent version for version ARM64, and this is ARM64. Lovely. So up and up and up, and now we are using this, and we can click on our Raspberry Pi cluster, and so we have some things like this. We have nodes, so we can click on each node and we can check what is going on here. So we can check the status, K3S information, and system information, labels, and annotations, and tags. So also we can check our project namespaces. So there are some things like here and monitoring, and we can enable monitoring for our local. Good to do that. For our cluster, I'm not enabling it now. Should like that because I want to then click on the cluster explorer, and we can explore the local here. So we have more information here. We have pods, we have jobs, we have deployments, etc. So we can do a lot of things. If we will go to services, we can click create a new one, so we can decide which one we want to use, and node port, load balancer, so we can redirect ports and actually expose ports. And also here you can choose between the clusters, so it will change the view. And also here you can change the namespaces, so all or only user namespaces. And here job pods, and if we will then change the all namespaces, you can see exactly that the view is changed. And here we have everything what we need to have in our cluster dashboard. And then if we want to, we can switch to local also. There is a kubectl shell. It should work, and kubectl get nodes, and it should display the information, get pods and -a, and you can see everything is working. So we can close it, and we can then choose the cluster manager. And here in the events, you have more information on this local node, what is going on here. And you can also launch kubectl here, but it's working. So kubectl get node, and you will see the Ranger is working. So this is it. And here, where the user is located, so you have something like preferences, and you can switch to the auto or dark mode, and auto will work because currently it's late night, it's 7 p.m. So in Poland, so that is why. But auto is fine, in my opinion. And also you can change the password, and what else? You can also change cloud credentials if you want to, or you can choose the API and keys, and here you can manage it. And what is interesting, that if you will go to the cluster, you can also see something like T-scans, ISO, logging, notifiers, alerts. So you can set alerts, for example, and you can manage the cluster. So this is it. I'm going to present Portainer dashboard in a next tutorial because this is very, very long. And what else? After this, when I will present the Portainer dashboard, I will make a comparison between this Ranger and Portainer dashboard. What is interesting, that if you are using Portainer, you can use the newest version of the K3S. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the newest version of K3S doesn't work with the Ranger. I don't know why. I will investigate it. Is it possible to make it work? Probably, but I'm not sure. So, I will have to check it. And for now, that is all. I hope you enjoyed this video. So thank you very much and have a nice day. Take care. Bye-bye.